Okay, so this is Suburbs 2016. This map is technically not my map, because this is actually a remake. So, a remake of one of my all-time favorite Doom 2 maps during my younger years. The map itself, like, what is it? I still think it's like a good map, in like, in like today's time, if for the lack of a better word. But I definitely feel like, what is it, I've grown to like other maps than this one. But during, like, when I was young, I loved it playing this map. This map was just like so much fun. I mean, I guess it was kind of like revolutionary for like FPS standards, especially like for classic Doom standards, like the famous where is it? I think I have it. Oh yeah, there it is. Like this entire encounter right here. Oh crap! You know what? I forgot to turn off. This entire like encounter right here. Like this was so mind mind blowing to me when I was a lot younger. Like I never thought like a game would like throw in like a ridiculous amount of fight. When I first played Doom 2, because like in Doom 1, the fights were nowhere near as like crazy as they were in Doom 2. So this fight, like it really like it was just really what is it? Memorable for me. And for classic Doom, like this fight was kind of like this map in a nutshell. It's almost like the earliest like slaughter map in a way, even though I don't really consider this map to be a slaughter map. But this fight right here, like this pretty much like this entire fight was like a blueprint to like all like the slaughter map wads, like Chillax, Hell Revealed, Sunder, like all of those wads right there. And it's just kind of crazy, like this fight would pretty much like inspire map creators to really like go to the next level and just like throw in 50 times the monster, make the maps like 50 times bigger and all that stuff. Honestly, I never really enjoyed playing slaughter maps. It's just not my thing. But I don't mind like having these kinds of like fights in like the classic Doom style type of maps. Like I definitely prefer wads that are more similar in terms of like Memento Mori or Vile Flash. Like those kind of wads are more like my style of Doom wads that I like to play. Or what is it? I just recently finished Double Impact. I thought that was like a good wad too. So yeah, those are kind of like the kind of wads I like to play as far as like getting my classic Doom user fix. But anyways, let's just talk about Suburbs 2016. So yep, it is a remake of Map 16 from Doom 2. I decided to actually start the player by letting them have like a certain amount of weapons here. And this area is actually a little bit of a tribute to Map 32, like the very ending of like Commander Keen, where they're all like he's all like hanging up and stuff, and this is like the exit and stuff. So yeah, this is actually a little reference to that. I decided to give you all the weapons. Only player 1 can have BFG for balance purposes. And this is, what is it? Back in those times, I actually thought like the BFG was really overpowered, so that's why I've only included this map to have like 2-player co-op support. But looking back then, I should have not done that, because I've made campaigns that have like the BFG and they have 4-player co-op. So I guess that's something I could kind of like come back and maybe update for future purposes. And this is funny, like back in what is it? Back in like the free update 4 days, I don't know why I decided to make like the height floor like so big. I mean so tall at that time. I really don't know, but nowadays like I definitely prefer to like lower it to like 1 or 2 and all that stuff here. Alright, so that's pretty much the next area. Here's like the real like first area of the map here. So obviously I make you kind of like spawn where like you're supposed to spawn here. Wait, where is it? There it is. See, you spawn exactly in like the same area that you're supposed to like spawn. These are just kind of like the thing that allows the player to move up on the stairs. And of course this map was kind of like designed with like ultra violence gameplay in mind from Doom 2, so I really tried to like throw in like almost the same amount of enemies for the SnapMap version. Obviously, if you play Doom 2, you open this, you encounter Revenant, and there's supposed to be an Archvile here. But back then, what is it? We didn't know about the Summoner, so I just used a Baron of Hell here. I don't know if I'll come back and replace this Baron with the Summoner. I mean, who knows. And what else here? So I think what inspired me to make this map was like obviously, you know, I like playing this map in Doom 2 a lot, and I think it's because of like the free update 4 stuff. Like I noticed a lot of the textures, you know, like they can totally like they can kind of totally fit, you know, with like classic Doom textures and all that stuff. And that's kind of like what inspired me to make this map. So right here, use some hell props, decide to decorate. Looking back now, I feel like I could have like added like another texture onto this. Like this is pretty much the same texture as the outside texture. But in Doom 2, like, you know, when you go inside this little house, the floor texture is completely different. So I think I could totally come back here and maybe like update it if I ever feel like it. And the secrets are like easier to get here. Like, you know, you don't have to like time yourself on the on this little thing here. What else? Oh yeah, this little fight. So this is the fight where there's like a crap load of imps, and I decided to make it into like a Gore-esque fight here. I think it kind of makes sense because this is like this fight in the original version. It's almost like an arena. It's almost akin to like an arena style fight for Doom 2016. So I just decided to do that. So these are the doors here. Yep, this is the time when I use cylinder triggers. Now I use like the box triggers for my doors. And yep, since you know the grid room is not really big enough for this map, I have to use the box trigger to teleport you. So where does this teleport you? Ah, so it teleports you to that one secret here. Yeah. That secret with the yep, right here. This secret with like the whole freaking like plasma cell ammo and all that stuff here. What else? Yep, and this area with like the cackle demon here. So yeah, back in what is it? I think back in this time I didn't use like the little volume box trigger thing that has like the environmental hazard. I use like the old school like radiation effect here. I much prefer using like the volume nowadays. Like it's so rare. Like I can't remember the last time I used like this thing in my maps here. But yeah, that's kind of like one of the sense of evolution that I've evolved as a mapper. And of course, the little BFG secret here. Although I didn't give you a BFG because you already have a BFG at the first spawn. Oh, that tells me something. So, what is it? So the main reason why I wanted players to kind of like have all these weapons at start is because map 16 is a brutal map for pistol starting. Like you really have to know the map by heart to really make it playable. But if I like what is it? I mean, if you're one of those players that have no idea what you're doing in this map, it could totally be extremely frustrating to play. So that's why I wanted the player to have like what is it? Like their weapon loadout and all that stuff, just to make it more, I guess, reasonable to play it. Because like I said, you know, when you pistol start this map, you really have to do like certain things to make it feel playable and fair. Alright, I'll eventually come back to this area soon. So yeah, this is like the secret here. The classic brick wall room secret with all like the crazy gory type of room here. I think this was at a time when I didn't know about like the decals here. So if I come back here, I could totally like, you know, throw in more decals to make it look more uglier in a good way, obviously. So yeah, I mean, like I said, man, like this was like one of the early, oh, I forgot. This was one of like the earliest like free update 4 maps I made. So there were still like certain things I didn't really like know about about this I mean about like the new SnapMap features and stuff. Like, man, it took me a while to really like realize how great the decal effects are. This is just temporary. It's for like the lockdown when you could start this fight here. So here it is, the blue skull trap here, the infamous blue skull trap. So obviously in Doom 2016, you know, 12 enemy limit, you can't really make it as crazy as you can like in Doom 2. But look at this, it's still like a lot of enemies. Like I think most of my resources comes from this fight here because I really want to make this fight just as insanely crazy as I can, you know. So I think it's like 6 or 7 waves of enemy or something. And yeah, like that's very excessive for my standard. Like generally most of like my big fights is like 3 to 4 waves at max, you know. So this is like probably one of like the craziest fights I've ever done. You know, in like any map really. And what is it? If you ever played Doom 2 and you've gotten to this part, it's pretty much like a BFG spam, rocket spam. And this fight is pretty much no different. You're just doing lots of BFG and rocket spamming and all that stuff. And I decided to kind of add some extra power-ups just to make it feel a bit more balanced. And I think that's pretty much it for like this fight, really. It's just... oh yeah, so this is supposed to be like the toxic. I didn't want to add it, you know. I just kind of want to make the player be able to move around. Because, you know, I think it would just totally make the gameplay really annoying if this like actually hurts you. And like I said, I didn't use like the radiation box back then, so that's another reason why I didn't have that. I think that's pretty much it. I mean, yeah, this area, like, it's very empty, but that's just how it is in the original map, you know. It's kind of like empty in a good way is what I like to call it. And this is the, yep, this is the area where you get like this stuff here, like the, was it the, oh, the supercharge. So instead of supercharge, it's a mega health here, and that's the building. Like, this is supposed to be that one building with all the revenants. Like, obviously, you know, the grid room is not big enough, so I had to use like so many of them to really like replicate those areas here. And I think, wait, was this the final? No, this is not it. Oh, and I almost forgot. This map, like, it's totally pretty old school for my standards. Like, wait, where is it? Was there? Yeah, so this was like at a time when I used to like use lives in my maps. And yeah, I don't really do that anymore nowadays. I think it's because like I think I've stated this before, like, you know, when you play with randoms and, you know, they're not like the best player in co-op, like, it's so frustrating. So I just decided to completely remove lives in my future map. But this map, it's still like fairly old school for my standards. Like, it still uses lives and all that stuff. I don't know if in the future I will try to like patch that out, because I think, what is it, I had another remake map called Alien Shrine 2016, and I think that map used to have lives too, but I decided to kind of like make it checkpoints only. I think I did it just to like, what is it, it was kind of like for balance purposes, and also for like my change of gameplay design. Like, I started to want to, like, you know, just make it more playable for players of all skill level, for the lack of better word, I guess. And there it is. This is the room. It's obviously a little different than how it's supposed to look compared to, you know, Doom 2. But if you kind of like get a good glimpse at it, it still kind of has like certain similarities to Doom 2. So you got the blue door here. There's supposed to be a Spectre here, but I decided to remove him. I think because I think like the room was too cramped. That's why I didn't freaking put him here. And there's the little door. Wait, what the heck? Was it really this big? Oh, I guess so. There's supposed to be like a revenant that spawns here, and this is where you get the rockets. So this area right here, this area, in Doom 2, one of like the criticism I have for this map is like, I always thought like the secret was kind of like well hidden, and it's kind of like not really, what is it? It's not very obvious to figure out what to do. So I decided to actually make the player find like a hell shrine here. And basically when you open up that hell shrine, it kind of like removes all this, and then it starts throwing in like enemies. And I actually made this fight a little bit differently than what it's supposed to be in Doom 2. Like, I think I originally wanted like have a bunch of imps here, just like in Doom 2, but it felt too easy because of like the BFG is so overpowered in 2016. So I decided to kind of like change it up a bit, just to make it feel more fair with like the BFG 9000 in mind. And what is it? Where's the little exit here? Ah, there it is. So this is the exit. So I think like yeah, so you have to like yeah, this is like super old school Busy Man 123 styled map here. Back in those days, what is it? You know, before we had like the little glitch where like the delete would actually lag the freaking player blocking volumes. Um I used to like use delete a lot more on that instead of like the what is it? Like what was that one command? Yeah, instead of like the disable volume or make invisible. And what is it? Nowadays, like, you know, when I give the player like a red skull, like let's just say like, you know, I give a player a red skull, I would not like completely delete delete like the little like red door or whatever that you need to go through. That's how I used to do it back in like the early days of mapping. I guess cuz I was just lazy. I didn't really want to like, you know, make like a box trigger and then have like the player to actually come over here and activate it. But yeah, you know, this is definitely like this map. It definitely kind of shows a lot of like my old school design from from like the free update 2 days. And yeah, it's just kind of interesting to see like how much I've like evolved as like a designer and all that stuff. I think the main reason why I stopped like using what is it? Oh my god, I can't find the freaking secret. I mean the exit. I think the main reason why I stopped using like this design is because like I kind of want to give players like an idea of like of where they need to go, you know. So that's why I kind of stopped doing that. What else can I say about Suburbs 2016? So yeah, this is just a bunch of invisible barriers here, just to like. It's kind of weird that I didn't put it right here. Like there are still some things I don't really remember why, like I do all this stuff. But looking back at this map, you know, I'm actually still like proud of it, even though it is like a very old map and there's definitely things I would like to kind of like improve upon in the future. Like definitely, like I definitely could decorate it a bit better and maybe try to like fix certain things, I guess. But you know, like this map, like it was super rewarding when I first finished it. Like it was just so awesome to play. One of my favorite childhood maps in Doom 2016. And even though map 16, like it's not really like my all-time favorite map anymore. I still have like a very sentimental spot for this map because this map, like I said, I loved it playing this map when I was a lot younger. And it's just fun. Oh, and I almost forgot. Where is it? I think I put it right here. I don't know where I put the music, but I remember like I wish like what is this? SnapMap has the actual music from this map from Doom 2, but I used the what song was it? Is this it? There it is. I used the Sinister for this map. I personally think it kind of fits like the atmosphere, you know, out of all like the classic Doom themed songs that we have for SnapMap. So I used that song instead. And yeah, I think that's kind of like it really for Suburbs 2016. It's still like a very playable map. I mean, yeah, you know, you do have to worry about your lives, but it's very, very fair. Like it's an extremely, extremely fair map here. Like when you die, it's really your fault. And what is it? I think like I think this was at a time where I didn't like use that one logic where like I would punish you for dying and then you would like lose the BFG. So basically every time when you die, you will respawn the BFG. So, you know, what is it? If you're in a very sticky situation, just spam the BFG. You're going to get replenished ammo. And yeah, it's totally fair. And this map is really not that long too. Like what is it? I think you can probably beat this in like maybe like 10 to 15 minutes if you really know what you're doing. So, yeah. Even though I would like to like update this map and make it like have infinite lives and kind of like make it more up to like my modern design choices when I make like, you know, snap maps nowadays, I still think like it's very like playable for like, you know, a lot of people that want to come back and just kind of like, you know, experience them. And yeah, I think that's really much it for Suburbs 2016. I think I'm gonna do like one more map and then that's it.